is Colin Kaepernick, and he was a baseball player. He was a black baseball player. And after one of the major shootings in which a lot of black people were killed, that initially started the Black Lives Matter movement in America. During वो क्या बोलते हैं national anthem of the national anthem of the country going on during one of their next games, he sat down. You're not allowed to sit down during a national anthem. You're supposed to stand. And he sat down because of he believed that if his ideals, if his life, if the life of his people is not being respected enough in this country, then like it was just like a gesture from his side that you have to acknowledge what is happening to the country, what is happening to my people. And later, because of this, he was accused of obviously disrespecting America, and he was thrown out of the league that he was playing in. His career was basically jeopardized, or not jeopardized might not be the correct word. Like they just threw him out of the game. And there was a time where Colin Kaepernick was like being sidelined by every big brand, like every brand that had him signed. So basically, Nike took this, as Nike is known to do revolutionary things. Nike took him and made this ad. And if you remember, there was a line in which he said, "Dream so big that it goes beyond yourself. Dream so big that it becomes not just about you, but about other people." So this is something that I read into which I came across in a Seth Godin interview, where he basically said that what Nike does need guts to do. Not everyone will take a person who has been sort of sidelined by the whole world and still decide to stand by them. But then they said that is what Nike does. They don't abandon their people, and that shows that they're loyal not just towards their brand ambassadors, but their customers, every stakeholder that they have in the company. And thus I really like the idea of this ad. And one more thing that I absolutely love about this ad is, even though this ad is about him saying Colin Kaepernick specifically, and even though Nike also faced a lot of backlash after this, but it also carried the Nike narrative that Chani and Vaishnavi said about, that it still showed that ambition, that athleticism that Nike always shows in their ads. So this is how Nike very subtly but very loudly embraced someone who was basically sidelined by the whole world. And that's why I really like the narrative of this ad, that even though they're sticking to their core beliefs, but they're also sticking with the people that they have been supporting. And even if that idea like brings them down by a notch, it doesn't affect them. So yeah, that was my ad find.
Prak, that's a good question.
I also am thinking about this for the first time, but yeah, probably could be.
But is it ऐसा है क्या कि Nike का?
I mean, they do a lot of basketball affiliations, and those are usually African American players, or like African players. Could be, could not be. Like I don't have.
I think so. I think they have a very important stake in making sure that they stand by their black players.
True, makes sense.
Yeah.
But what I absolutely loved about this ad is like, okay, so no one in all of you had that first thought that this is about them supporting a black player. Like the ad in itself doesn't say that. So they are not trying to do ke matlab ye dekho, oh we are besides our black players, this that. They just took him in an ad. Like it was so subtle that for a new person it is a very average Nike ad कि हाँ ये ऐसे ही ads बनाता है Nike, this is what Nike does, but in itself it was a revolution. Yes, SG.
So quick comment. I have seen this ad. When you showed the frame of that skateboarding, I knew what that ad is going to be about, but I never went and read the backstory. This is a person who was banned for taking a stand or not standing up for the national anthem and so on and so forth. So I did not know the backstory. So it's a lesson for me as well. I knew the ad. I knew what is going to happen. I knew the copy. I knew all of that. But to me, lesson is that that there's a backstory to it. And yeah, and also on Nike's base being African American, I am not too sure about it. I could be wrong though. It's an interesting data point to check. There must be substantial, but my sense is it will be as at par with their what do you call it, American demographic.
White.
Like
I'm
अगर
checking that.
लोग whites हैं, for example, I'm just saying like 60% people are whites and 40 are blacks. I would assume the ratio to be in the same space. In fact, a little bit less because African American community has lesser money compared to whites. So my sense is it's an important chunk, but it can't be the reason why Nike would make an ad like this. But that's me, right? I mean, we can check. That's my commonsensical answer to this.
I just read up on it, and at least it says that not most of the people, a big percentage of those who buy Nike, that demographic supports protests by minorities for minority rights, basically racial minority rights in America, including Hispanics and Asians, which is a very significant percentage of Nike's user base together, not just African Americans. So there is a buyer angle to it, demographic angle to it, but it's not just restricted to African Americans. That's what this article says. I'll drop a link as soon as I join from my laptop. So give me a minute.
In fact, sorry, I'm going to butt in. So this is important. So this is in fact what I also want to be doing in life, right? मतलब I've been thinking a lot about India में जो भी मतलब हो रहा है, whatever religion के नाम पे. I don't want to get into that right now, but I've been thinking a lot and a hard thought about the kind of work I want to do. So if I have a gift of being a communicator, or I have the ability to speak well or write well or whatever, and if I have some privilege, I want to be able to create content communication, etc., that opens up eyes of people. So if even if like what Prakriti is saying, what I'm reading into it is that buyers may not be blacks per se, African Americans per se, but it could be a white person, but somebody who supports the rights. So I want to be also doing the same kind of work in general, and not just religion, but other things also. So I mean, I'm to sir answer right signal se. So yeah, that's it. That's my 2-minute TED talk on this.
This, sorry, not to push this point forward, but it makes me think about the scene in Air when Jordan's mom goes up to Sunny Vaquero and Phil Knight, and she says, this kid is going, think about all the African Americans that your move is going to help. So just like it is making me think about Nike's own, Phil Knight's and Sunny Vaquero's approach to racial justice in America and Jordan's role possibly in it. Just a tangential thing. I know it's not relevant to the ad, but I thought about that scene a lot when we were discussing. No, even I did.
She asked for money for the community. She said, I need that share because I am going to give back to my community. Also,
Yeah.
नहीं, more than that, एक और चीज, right? I mean, African American, sir, let tell you. African American community में क्या होता है ना? From whatever little I know, मतलब Prakriti will have better perspective because Chicago is obviously like a big region. So वहाँ पे क्या होता है ना? इन लोगों के पास 4-5 ही ऑप्शन होते हैं. मतलब या तो स्पोर्ट्स होता है या म्यूजिक होता है. मतलब like today, for example, an average Indian can choose to be engineer, doctor, writer, painter, whatever, like 30,000 things. But a colored person in America can only become an athlete or a musician, or like that, like 5 things that they can do. They cannot do 6 things. They will not. You will see very rarely a business executive which is a colored, person. Like, I mean, they will only have like certain kind of roles. So it is extremely big for them to become role models to other people. So I'm just trying to tell you about what Jordan's mom was saying. I again don't know what happened back then, right? Nobody knows, but I'm just saying that it becomes extremely important as a cultural movement, and that is the business that we are in, right? I mean, communication is not just about making ads; it's about being able to create cultural movements and inspiring the world around us. So that's my addition, whatever, 2-minute rant.
मुझे बहुत simple reason के लिए अच्छा लगा. A thing that I think I want to learn and don't do well. Show don't tell. Very simple. Like it makes you think. It makes you think about each time you've gone to shower and leisurely stood under garam pani for 5 more minutes because it's like restful. That and yeah, like that's the main reason. And I came across it like while randomly scrolling through. I was looking for something else, I think. So, and एक और चीज बोली थी मैं भूल गई, but हाँ प्रा.
No, complete it. I wouldn't mean to interrupt.
No, I forgot the second thing I wanted to say. That was one.
No, I was thinking how all good ads or memorable ads always come with a social kind of message or impact or cause that they support, whether subtly or a little more overtly. This may be show don't tell, but it's very overtly supporting a cause.
Yeah.
The Nike ad was subtle, like maybe they who didn't have a context would not know that was supporting a
Correct.
cause.
Yeah.
But I think like that's such a key thing. Like
I think emotion too. Matlab that's the like.
but emotion can come through there's always social like I remember the few ads I remember like Bonvita's sports ad because sports is a social cause in India but कोई इसको भाव नहीं देता है तो I'm just thinking about how not just emotion but emotion supported with this larger group impact this larger than life impact that emotion also
Like the brands are beyond the product, right? Because
yeah,
it
and the
should
topic
be
like the topic of that emotion is really important.
Correct.
'cause-
Yeah. This reminded me of like what AK had put on BYG fans that the first toothbrush you've ever used still is lying somewhere. वो बहुत बेसिक बहुत obvious thought है जो नहीं सोचा तुमने मतलब मैंने नहीं सोचा था उससे पहले किसी ने lot of people wouldn't have thought of it that way ये भी बहुत मतलब क्या like if you break it down it is के गांव में तुम डाल दो तो लोग पानी पीने का पहले सोचेंगे ना नहाने का नहीं मतलब ब्रेक उसको तोड़ोगे तो वो वही है तो but I think yeah it's powerful so
and I think the main game is like you hold the attention in the first second, in the first frame. Like the first frame is so fucking weird. It's मतलब पूरे गांव में कुछ नहीं है. And it's just a shower in between. So your attention instantly goes to like what the fuck is happening.
yeah
So I think
visual also is very important in this one for sure you're right like they could have done a steel tap somewhere and but oh sorry they could have done a steel tap somewhere and done the same thing but it was a glass shower between khali that was also a detail
also like adding on to what Prag said ke matlab larger than life wali cheez I think this there's a very short day 5 ka post I wrote ke a lot of what we do is to be remembered after us after our closed ones and I think brands also try to do that ke I can see Anshika in 2 screens and I think that creates a lot of impact because even brands want to be remembered apart from their customers and their direct stakeholders. Matlab, this way of supporting a larger social cause brings more people into the just the brand awareness. Like अगर कोई ऐसा होगा जो इस टैप के मतलब आई डोंट नो ये मेरे को तो अभी तक ये भी समझ नहीं आया कि ये क्या शावर ब्रांड का एड था शायद टैप के ब्रांड का एड था
did you not read it
Unilever
का cause
अच्छा यूनिलीवर का
you didn't read
अच्छा
you didn't see the whole ad
no मतलब I saw that no I think I missed that तो
मतलब एक last frame पे बस
तो
actually
मतलब हाँ तो what I'm saying is कि like why brands trying to also be remembered beyond their direct stakeholders. This is just a attempt to be immortal in minds of people who you don't directly sort of maybe are contributing to. Like हो सकता है ये एक गांव का ऐसे इंसान जिसके लिए पानी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है वो तुम्हें ऐसे अपने प्रोडक्ट्स के लिए याद ना रखे but if somehow they came across this ad then they will be.
Yeah, and I might be wrong, but I think ads which kind of personally attack you, they also affect you. For example, if I am very particular about saving paper, I don't know why only paper and not water. So I don't waste a lot of notebooks and I tend to reuse notebooks. So agar this ad was about saving paper, I don't think it would have affected me as much as saving water, even though we should save both water and paper, but I'm doing my part in saving paper and not water. So this affected me for that part. And also there was this one ad I watched long, long ago. It had Tapsi Pannu in it, and I remember that ad because it personally attacked me and my family and the people that I hang out with. It was about dowry, and it was a very witty, funny ad. I mean, the relatives. I could think of relatives I should send this ad to, because of their certain views. So, उस एड में क्या था, तापसी पन्नू इस सेटिंग ऐसा कोई अरेंज मैरिज का कुछ वो चल रहा है एंड उससे पूछते हैं, आई थिंक लड़के वाले दहेज के कुछ ऐसा अपनी लैंग्वेज में पूछते हैं, तो फिर वो बोलती है हाँ एक फ्लैट एक गाड़ी ये वो हम ऐसे करते हैं, तो तुम्हें ऐसा लगेगा लड़की वाले दे रहे हैं, बट तापसी पन्नू मेंट कि नहीं हमें ये सब चाहिए. So it was a funny वैसा वे में ad, but I remember it even though it wasn't memorable for a lot of people. But I think ads which personally attack you and you can relate to them. So
Anything that personally attacks you, I think.
Yeah,
not me,
but-
but I know.
But only self-aware people get attacks. Ignorant लोग तो हाँ अपनी मस्ती में घूर होते हैं. But you're right. Dude, this ad attack, I could think of every shower I've stood under chilling. Like, you know what I
But
mean?
did we change is the question. मैंने भी ये
हाँ.
ad बहुत बार देखा है, but मैं change नहीं. Did
हाँ,
I change?
correct. I know that's fucked up, right? I mean, that I don't want to get to. Like, I will probably continue to see it. Yeah, that's a different discussion. But from a communication perspective, it is what.
Yes.
Yeah. Fareen has raised her hand.
Yes. So, talking about you remembering the brand in what they do and not what the product they sell, right? I mean, this is not an ad per se, and so I don't know if I've shared this with you guys. If I have, please stop me in the middle because I talk about this a lot. So, Tata Motors did a campaign when I was with Rediffusion, and I was not a part of that team, but I saw my colleagues work on it. So, you know how in the northern states there are these truck drivers, right? Most of your truck drivers and the northern part of India is majorly the truck drivers, and their target audience was there. And something as simple as the other discussion that we were doing, that चीज थॉट सामने होगी पर तुम्हारा दिमाग नहीं चलेगा उस पे, मतलब ऐसे होता है. तो they came up with, and because of these truck drivers, there was a lot of cases of AIDS because unprotected sex. They had no knowledge about it, right? They had no knowledge about protection, and because they travel a lot, their lifestyle was like that. So the cases of HIVs were extremely high in that region and that particular set of people. They came up with condoms called Dipper. Why?
Because
Dipper.
they
Use
actually
dipper
did
at
it.
night.
Because
Use
truck
dipper
पे
at
नीचे लिखा
night.
होता है use dipper at night.
It's just me who doesn't get it. Dipper.
When do you
Dipper
use
is
condoms
an
at night?
indicator
Use
of
dipper
car
at night.
driving. Yeah,
Oh,
you did.
हाँ. Yeah. The this वाला sound जो वहाँ होता है.
हाँ जी.
Oh.
So it is so simple, so brilliant. There's no ad that they did. I've just sent a 1 minute long case study that they put up on YouTube. You guys can watch it. But it is so amazing that I till date, after almost 10 years, I remember this and I always talk about this. There's no ad per se, but it's talking about the brand doing something which is, I mean, not related to their product or anything, but it's something that they'll be remembered for. That's what it is.
I think the first point that they got the biker personality so on point that they exactly know what makes a biker. And in the first few frames, they show the boots, just जो कि Harley के boots है. So you have Harley in your mind for the next 1.5 minutes, and then they talk about the wildness of it, the feeling of being on the roads, and even the sounds of that the bike start होती है. And that's just like it's the personality of a biker, right? Like that's a feeling. Like they know what is that love, what is that thing that go makes you go like spend beyond I don't know, like what is cheaper than Harley or जो भी bikes है Harley से पहले. तो मतलब obviously there are so many bikes which are cheaper than Harley, but I'm just unaware. तो जो भी bikes है, what makes you spend so much for Harley, right? And it's that absolute love for those sounds, for those roads, for the feeling of being alone on the roads and traveling alone, being while going out there. So I think, yeah, they captured it so right. That I love that. Mike, to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree. What you said, right? कि Harley में क्या है? Like each bike has its. I think what all these bikes, especially Harley and Royal Enfield, both, even Ducati for that matter, what these people have done is create great communities. Each of them independently. मतलब हाँ, like इतना loyalty है. I've spoken to so many people, both from these Harley, cults, and if I may call it a cult, and Royal Enfield cults, and they're loyal. मतलब like it's insane, right? It is not. Bike में logically, objectively चीजें अलग होंगी. They may even like some other bike better, but it is what the community these people have got brought together, and that's why you don't leave. Like, I've had people sitting. We've talked about this earlier, right? When we were designing merch, I've had people sit down, and I know somebody who became friends because you spot a Harley jacket from far away, right? You spot a keychain from far away. Bikers have this tradition where they hang a, like my uncle had told me this. They एक bell होता है, like tiny bell. It's a मंदिर में जो bell लगाते हैं वो नीचे bike के कोई part में. And it's a good omen thing to when you're riding and when you're alone. It keeps the bad things away. It's a only bikers know that. मतलब ये natural घूमता नहीं यहाँ पे, and you don't get it, ऐसे ही easily. But these are the things. It's so much beyond the CC of a bike, the product itself, with all these people, and I think that's what's amazing. Yeah.
No, when I saw the ad, I thought these are all women riders. But every person I thought was a women rider, and I thought in the end it would be something to do with women and Harley, but clearly it's not the case. So I was mistaken. I didn't spot Admi at all. That's the point of it, right? Harley is typically a 40-year-old man, midlife crisis kind of a bike. So that's what I thought. But the cab is wrong. That's okay.
Call पे मेरे साथ. Sorry. No, it is not. But I think about this a lot, right? Matlab, like I was talking about this to somebody that I've grown up and seen only men in suits and car ads, and the only time I've seen a woman is when she's in a red dress and standing like sexily in front of a car. Okay, at least growing up, that's the vision I remember. I can't remember कौन सा था, but TV पे चलता था वो. Now,
GTA.
opposite दिखाने क्या?
Bad joke. I was like, ad नहीं था वो GTA था.
मेरे बचपन में GTA नहीं था ब्रो. मेरे टीन में GTA था. मेरे टीन में GTA था. फिर बचपन में थोड़ा ना था. 2000.
Okay, चलो छोड़ो.
I don't know. था, हाँ, I think Vice City था या San Andreas, पता नहीं, जो भी नहीं, but वो ad भी था, मुझे याद है. And does it, like, इस ad में naturally fit हुआ कि women थी, but I think about what is, I'm not able to articulate. 1 second. दिखाने के लिए ad में नहीं डाल देना चाहिए गाड़ी में woman को, right? Like how else do you battle that is what I keep thinking about. I don't have an answer. This ad was okay, right? It's not like in your face. It's not like हाँ आदमी की जगह पे woman को डाल दे, ऐसा नहीं लगा. It was like by a woman, but
that it almost went unnoticed. Like मैंने notice ही नहीं किया.
Correct. हाँ, मुझे लगा भी एक आदमी था. Like I just saw starting में, I think but that's what. So I think if it's naturally done, it's good. Otherwise, it just looks like a.
No, like I said on the chat, I think ads do spoken word better than actual spoken word artists. And this was really this was poetry. This is very much, would fit right in on a stage or open mic. It would fit right into poetry book. This was powerful. So for me, I think that was the most impactful. While I don't connect with bikes, I am so much a car person that people have like tried to make me fall in love with bikes, but it's not worked. So for me, yes, it was powerful, visual imagery, all of those subtle things. They were really great. But for me, I think the power of words really was inspiring and reassuring that, like, some great, like good ads, good words still I had a thought which is not connected, but digital may SG, I don't know if you're probably the best person to answer, but digital doesn't produce this kind of stellar campaign work, does it?
India may it doesn't because the budgets for digital film in India is pathetic. So to make a film like this, you would have spent like a crore. But on India, a digital film is 15 lakh rupiya. So you are unable to get. Like I'll give you an example. Aerial की ad है जो India Pakistan पर मिलके बनाई थी. It was a digital only ad. So it was brilliant content, right? Similarly, Google की ad जिसमें वो दो दोस्त मिलते हैं एक टाइम के बाद. The digital first ad. So some brands take that brave stand. But please constrain that was a rant. The marketing is no longer about building brands anymore. Marketing is about CAC and all those keywords and acronyms. Because of that, what happens is that real storytelling, real conversation, real brand building is no longer it's a dying art. The next generation from our Sarah and Prisha will not know what great ads are. So that's your answer. Like we get shitty views. Also a lot of things, right? So because digital media चलाना बहुत मुश्किल है. Like once you make an ad, then to be able to run it, it requires Facebook promotion, this and that. It doesn't work. So that's it. This is what makes communication like this is what makes you go oh fuck, right? And this is what most great ads do. You don't realize. And I'll not be surprised if Harley were ad में शायद वो आंटियां ही हो सब लड़कियां हो. I don't know, right? Sorry, but just now trying to win.